Welcome, dear listener, to The Quiet Baker's Night, a cozy sleep story. As the sun dips below the horizon, let your eyelids grow heavy, your breath slow and steady. Imagine yourself settling into a soft bed, the world outside fading away. Tonight, we'll wander into a gentle tale, one that wraps around you like a warm blanket. Close your eyes now and let the story begin. In the heart of a sleepy village named Eldridge, where cobblestone paths wind lazily between thatched cottages, there stands a modest bakery bathed in the golden hues of twilight. The air here is always laced with the comforting aroma of fresh bread, warm, yeasty notes that mingle with the faint sweetness of honey and the earthy whisper of flour dusting the counters. This is the domain of Elias, the quiet baker, a man in his mid-40s with a gentle demeanor that mirrors the soft rise of his dough. Elias has kind eyes, the color of aged walnut, and hands calloused from years of kneading, yet they move with a deliberate tenderness, as if each loaf he shapes is a quiet act of love for the world. Elias lives alone above his shop, his days measured by the rhythm of the oven's gentle hum and the chime of the bell above the door. He's not one for crowds or loud laughter. Instead, he finds solace in the simple rituals of his craft. Tonight, as the village quiets, Elias wipes his flour-dusted apron on a hook by the window. The last rays of sunlight filter through the glass, casting long shadows across the wooden floorboards, worn smooth by countless footsteps. Outside, the evening breeze stirs the leaves of the nearby willow grove, a serene expanse of ancient willows that border the village like silent guardians. Locals call it the whispers of the willow grove, for when the wind passes through, the slender branches sway and rustle in a way that sounds like soft, secretive murmurs, sharing tales only the heart can hear. As Elias steps out into the cooling air, he inhales deeply. The scent of blooming night jasmine drifts from the grove, mingling with the distant trickle of a stream that weaves through the trees. The grass underfoot is cool and slightly damp from the afternoon's mist, each blade brushing against his worn leather boots like a gentle caress. It's a night like any other, yet something in the air feels inviting, a subtle pull toward connection. Elias decides to take his evening walk, a habit that soothes his mind after a day of baking. He carries a small basket with a few leftover pastries, flaky croissants filled with apricot jam, their buttery layers still warm to the touch. Not far along the path, Elias encounters Mira, the curious beekeeper. Mira is a woman in her early 30s, with sun-kissed cheeks and hair the color of wild honey, often tied back in a loose braid adorned with a sprig of lavender. She's known for her boundless curiosity about the natural world, always observing the bees in her hives with a childlike wonder. Her personality is light and optimistic, like the buzz of her bees on a sunny morning, yet she speaks with a soft cadence that puts everyone at ease. Tonight, she's returning from her apiary at the edge of the grove, a clay jar of fresh honey tucked under her arm. The jar gleams faintly in the twilight, its contents swirling like liquid gold. "Elias," Mira calls softly, her voice carrying on the breeze like a melody. What a lovely evening to cross paths. The bees were especially busy today, gathering nectar from the wildflowers in the grove. Would you care for some honey? It's still warm from the comb. Elias smiles, a quiet curve of his lips that reaches his eyes. "Mira, always so generous. I'd be delighted. And I've brought pastries. Perhaps we could share." Their exchange is unhurried, the words flowing like the stream nearby. As they sit on a weathered bench overlooking the path to the whispers of the willow grove, the sounds of the village fade. The distant lowing of a cow, the soft cluck of chickens settling in their coops. The air grows cooler, carrying the fresh, green scent of willow leaves, and the first stars begin to prick the deepening sky. A little further into their conversation, Theo joins them. Theo is the reflective traveler, a man in his late 50s with a salt and pepper beard and eyes that hold the depth of distant horizons. Though he's wandered far in his younger days, across rolling hills and bustling markets, he's settled in Eldridge now, drawn by the peace of the place. His personality is wise and introspective, like a deep well of stories, but he shares them sparingly, always listening more than speaking. Tonight, he's out for his nightly stroll, his walking stick tapping gently against the stones, the wood smooth from years of use. "Ah, Elias and Mira," Theo says, his voice a low rumble, warm as aged whiskey. "The grove calls to us all on nights like this. May I join your quiet gathering?" "Of course, Theo," Elias replies, offering a pastry. "Your company is always a comfort." The three of them form a small circle of companionship, the bench creaking softly under their weight. Around them, the whispers of the willow grove begin to stir, the leaves rustling in a soothing susurrus like nature's lullaby. The texture of the bench is rough yet familiar, grounding them in the moment, while the faint hum of crickets adds a rhythmic underscore to their words. As the twilight deepens into a velvety night, the trio decides on a gentle adventure, a slow walk into the whispers of the willow grove itself. It's not a grand expedition, but a meandering stroll, the kind that allows thoughts to unfurl like petals in the moonlight. Elias leads the way, his basket swinging lightly at his side, the pastries inside wrapped in a clean cloth that smells faintly of vanilla. Mira walks beside him, her jar of honey catching glints from the emerging moon, while Theo follows at a leisurely pace, his stick providing a steady tap-tap that echoes softly off the trees. The path into the grove is lined with soft moss, cool and spongy underfoot, cushioning each step like a natural carpet. The air here is thicker with tranquility, scented by the willow's subtle, fresh aroma, a mix of green bark and dew-kissed leaves. As they enter deeper, the branches arch overhead, forming a canopy that filters the starlight into delicate patterns on the ground. "Listen," Mira whispers, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. "The whispers, they're like secrets from the earth itself." Elias nods, feeling the calm settle into his bones. He's always found baking to be his meditation, the way the dough yields under his hands, warm and pliable, transforming simple ingredients into something nourishing. But here, in the grove, he senses a similar alchemy in nature, the way the wind shapes the leaves, the stream polishes the stones. "It's peaceful," he says softly, "like the quiet hours in my bakery, when the world sleeps and I create." Theo chuckles gently, a sound like rustling pages in an old book. "Ah, Elias, your bakery is a grove of its own, filled with the whispers of rising bread. I've traveled many paths, seen sunrises over mountains and sunsets by the sea, but places like this remind me that home is where the heart finds rest. They pause by a small clearing where wildflowers nod in the breeze. Delicate blooms of lavender and chamomile, their petals soft as silk, releasing a soothing herbal fragrance that eases the mind. Mira kneels to gather a few stems, her fingers brushing the velvety leaves with care. "These would make a wonderful tea," she muses. "Something to warm us on this cool night." The bees love these flowers. They dance around them at dawn, collecting pollen like tiny treasures. "Tea sounds perfect," Elias agrees, his voice a gentle murmur. He sets down his basket and helps Mira arrange the flowers, their hands working in quiet harmony. The act is simple, yet it binds them closer, a shared task that fosters a sense of community. Theo watches with a reflective smile, leaning on his stick. "In my wandering days, I learned that the smallest moments, like gathering herbs under the stars, hold the deepest joys. They connect us, don't they? To each other, to the world." As they continue, the stream comes into view, its waters gliding over smooth pebbles with a melodic gurgle, clear and cool to the touch. The group sits on a fallen log, its bark textured with lichen, soft and slightly crumbly under their palms. Mira dips her fingers into the stream, the water rippling gently, sending tiny waves that catch the moonlight. "Feel that," she says invitingly. "It's like the grove's own lullaby, washing away the day's worries." Elias joins her, the chill of the water a refreshing contrast to the warmth of his bakery oven. Memories surface softly, of his childhood in the village, learning to bake from his grandmother, her hands guiding his as they shaped loaves by candlelight. "This place, it makes me think of simpler times," he shares, his tone reflective. "When life was just flour, water, and a bit of patience." Theo nods, his eyes gazing at the stars peeking through the branches. "Patience is the traveler's greatest companion. I've crossed rivers wider than this, but none as serene. Here, in the whispers of the willow grove, I feel the world's vastness shrink to something intimate, something hopeful." Their conversation meanders like the stream, touching on gentle topics. Myra's fascination with the bees' intricate dances, how they communicate through subtle vibrations. Elias's quiet pride in a perfectly baked sourdough, its crust crackling just so. Theo's tales of distant meadows where fireflies lit the night like living stars. No arguments arise, no tensions, just a flowing exchange, each voice adding to the harmony. The sensory world envelopes them. The soft brush of willow fronds against their shoulders, the faint chirp of night birds, the earthy dampness of the soil rising after a light mist. Deeper in the grove, they find a natural alcove formed by entwined willows, a cozy nook where the ground is blanketed in fallen leaves, crisp yet yielding. Here they share their treats, Elias's pastries, flaky and buttery, melting on the tongue with bursts of sweet apricot. Myra's honey, smooth and floral, drizzled over the top, and the fresh herbal tea brewed over a small, crackling fire that Theo kindles with dry twigs. The flames dance low, casting a warm glow on their faces, the wood smoke curling upward in lazy spirals, scented with pine. As they sip and nibble, the subtle message of connection weaves through their words. "We're like these willows," Mira says thoughtfully, her voice soft as the leaves. Rooted in our own ways, yet swaying together in the wind. It's in these quiet nights that we find our strength in friendship, in nature's gentle embrace. Elias feels a warmth in his chest, not from the tea, but from the bond forming. His days in the bakery are solitary, but fulfilling, yet tonight reminds him that solitude and connection can coexist, each enhancing the other. Hope lives in these moments, he murmurs. A reminder that tomorrow's bread will rise, just as the sun will. Theo raises his cup in a quiet toast. To tranquility, found in the whispers around us. The night deepens, the grove's rustles growing fainter, lulling them into a shared peace. They linger, savoring the calm, before slowly making their way back, the path illuminated by moonlight filtering through the leaves. As they emerge from the whispers of the willow grove, the village lights twinkle like distant fireflies, welcoming them home. The air is cooler now, carrying the promise of restful sleep. Elias parts ways with Mira and Theo at the bakery door, their goodbyes soft and sincere. A gentle hug from Mira, her braid brushing his shoulder with the scent of lavender. A firm, reassuring clasp from Theo's hand, calloused from his travels. "Until next time," Mira says, her smile warm in the lamplight. "Safe dreams," Theo adds, his voice fading into the night. Elias watches them go, then steps inside, the familiar creak of the door a comforting sound. He climbs the stairs to his room, the wooden steps smooth underfoot, and settles into his bed, the sheets cool and inviting against his skin. The echoes of the evening linger, the whispers of the willows, the taste of honeyed pastry, the quiet camaraderie. In this cozy world, hope blooms like wildflowers, connections deepen like roots, and tranquility wraps around the soul like a gentle breeze. As the story fades, let your body relax fully, your mind drifting on waves of peace. Breathe in and out, allowing sleep to claim you softly. To drift into more peaceful tales, subscribe to Sleep Dream Stories for more soothing stories.